What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video here on NHL 21. The World Juniors finished up pretty much 2 months ago now, and as I'm sure you remember, the United States did end up taking home the gold medal. On their way to that gold medal, they were led by Anaheim Ducks prospect Trevor Zegras, who finished the tournament with 7 goals and 11 assists for 18 points in just 7 games. He led the World Juniors in scoring and was named the MVP of the entire tournament. With all this being said, it is safe to say that many people were excited to see this guy with the Anaheim Ducks, and he recently got his shot last week as he was called up from the AHL. So far with the Ducks, he has played in 4 games as of the time I'm recording this. He has no points yet, but he does have a nice shootout goal, and he did have the balls to attempt a lacrosse move for his first NHL goal. Anyway, in today's video, we will be simulating his career with the Anaheim Ducks year by year on NHL 21 and checking in on his stats as well as if he wins any awards. As always, I will be controlling a different team than Anaheim and having the CPU control everything. Now let's get into year number 1 of this simulation and see how Trevor Zegras is looking. So, like real life, Trevor Zegras is starting off in the minors as the San Diego Gulls first line center, playing between Sonny Milano and Isaac Lundstrom. Zegras is 78 overall with medium elite potential and has some very promising stats to start off with. Some of these include 87 speed, 87 deking, and 84 offensive awareness. He does not last long with the San Diego Gulls, and after being called up, he helped the Anaheim Ducks finish 14th in the NHL and make the playoffs. In them, they fell to the Vancouver Canucks in 7 games in the first round. Trevor Zegras' rookie season saw him get 68 games with the Ducks, and in them scored 15 goals and 13 assists for 28 points. In the playoffs, he had a goal and 2 assists for 3 points, but struggled to be a plus player. Zegras increases up to an 82 overall, and the Calder Trophy does go to Kirill Kaprizov. In their first full season with Trevor Zegras, the Anaheim Ducks finished 8th in the NHL and even won the Pacific Division. Come playoff time, they get to the second round, but fall to Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers in 7 games. Zegras' sophomore season had him with 27 goals and 36 assists for 63 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 4 goals and 7 assists for 11 points. With all this, Trevor Zegras jumps up to an 86 overall. Anaheim once again with a solid regular season, as this one sees them finishing 10th in the NHL and making the playoffs. They get past the Edmonton Oilers this season in the first round, but the Vancouver Canucks end up being too much for them in the second round as they fall to them in 7 games. Trevor Zegras in the final year of his rookie deal had 21 goals and 53 assists for 74 points. Come playoff time, he was a point per game player with 14 points in 14 playoff games. He jumped up to an 87 overall, and in the offseason signed 6 years with the Ducks, making $7.1 million per year. The Anaheim Ducks in year 4 make the playoffs for the 4th straight season after finishing 7th in the NHL. In the playoffs, they went on a solid run that saw them lose 1 game shy of the Stanley Cup Finals to the Winnipeg Jets. Zegras once again led the Ducks in scoring. This year he had 23 goals and 47 assists for 70 points, and in the deep playoff run he added another 3 goals and 6 assists for 9 points. He once again increased in overall and is now up to an 88. The Ducks fell off a bit in year 5, but still made the playoffs as the 14th best team in the NHL. They did not last long in the playoffs this season and fell in 6 games to the Edmonton Oilers in the first round. Zegras took a bit of a step back here in year 5 and had 19 goals and 36 assists for 55 points. In the playoffs, he did step it up a bit and had himself 4 goals and 2 assists for 6 points in 6 games. With all this, he does drop back to an 87 overall. The Ducks don't even have a decent regular season and managed to make the playoffs as the 18th best team in the NHL. Believe it or not, they weren't even the last seed to make the playoffs, and to no one's surprise, lost in the first round to the Colorado Avalanche. Trevor Zegras had his career best season so far and put up 27 goals and 50 assists for 77 points. In the short 6-game run, Trevor Zegras had just a goal and an assist and was a -2. He increased back up to an 88 overall. The Ducks have a better season this time around as they made the playoffs in a more convincing fashion as the 11th best team in the league. The playoffs are a disappointment once again, and they see them fall to the Vancouver Canucks in just 5 games. Trevor Zegras had himself a huge season with 30 goals and 56 assists for 86 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 3 goals and 3 assists for 6 points in 5 games. With all this, he jumps up to a 90 overall. The Ducks fell off big time here in year number 8 as they finished 27th in the NHL and missed the playoffs for the first time in this simulation. Although the team was pretty bad, Zegras still managed to have himself a good season, and in it put up 28 goals and 48 assists for 76 points on the year. With all this, he drops back down to an 88 overall heading into the final year of his current deal. The Anaheim Ducks bounced back a bit here in year number 9 as they finished 19th in the NHL, but it still was not enough to make the postseason. Trevor Zegras in a contract year had a rough go-around that saw him get injured and somewhat underproduce. In 70 games, he had himself 22 goals and 29 assists for 51 points on the year. He dropped back down to an 87 overall, and in the offseason signed back with the Ducks for another 4 years, making $9.7 million per year. The Ducks for the second straight season finished 19th in the league and once again missed out on the playoffs. Trevor Zegras was able to remain healthy this season and bounce back with 21 goals and 50 assists for 71 points on the year. He jumps back up to an 88 overall, and hopefully Anaheim starts getting it together soon because this is starting to get a little bit rough. So 10 years into his NHL career now, Trevor Zegras has played in 791 NHL games, scored 233 goals and 418 assists for 651 career NHL points so far. He's a plus 31 and so far has not taken home any awards. I'm not gonna lie, this sim has been pretty boring so far, which sucks because in my personal franchise modes, I have seen Zegras simulate like a beast. Regardless though, like I said, hopefully the Ducks can turn things around and Zegras can start getting to 80 plus point seasons more often. Year 11, Anaheim still sucks and fell off once again as they finished 27th in the NHL for the second time in this simulation. Trevor Zegras is still consistently solid, and this season saw him break the 30 goal mark with 31 goals and 41 assists for 72 points on the year. He stays put at 88 overall, and I hope he either gets traded or the Ducks miraculously turn this thing around. So my wish does end up coming true, and in the offseason heading into year 12, the Ducks traded Zegras to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Noah Hanifin and some draft picks. The Penguins in their first year with Zegras had a huge regular season, finishing second in the league and finishing first in the Metro and Eastern Conference. In the playoffs, they got by the Ducks in 7 games, but the Philadelphia Flyers walked right through them in the second round in a 4-game sweep. Zegras in the first year with the team led them in points with 17 goals and 64 assists for 81 points, and in the playoffs he was kinda quiet with just 4 assists. He jumps up to an 89 overall heading into the final year of his current deal. Pittsburgh gets even better and has a huge regular season, finishing first in the NHL with 55 wins and 120 points. The playoffs are an absolute nightmare, and they are taken out in the first round in 7 games by the Boston Bruins. Trevor Zegras in the final year of his current deal had himself 28 goals and 51 assists for 79 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs had 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points. He dropped to an 87 overall, and in the offseason signs back with the Penguins on a 3-year, $32.7 million contract. For the second straight season, the Penguins finished first in the NHL, and for the second straight year, they choke against the Boston Bruins in the first round. Zegras, at 33 years old, is still keeping up with the rest of the Penguins' top talent, and this year saw him pot 32 goals and 50 assists for 82 points. In the second installment of the first round collapse to the Bruins, he was solid with 2 goals and 6 assists for 8 points. Zegras stays put at 87 overall. Pittsburgh's regular season dominance continues here in year 15 as they finished 3rd in the NHL. The playoffs were finally good to them as well, but it ended in heartbreaking fashion as they fell just 1 game short in the Stanley Cup Finals to the St. Louis Blues. Trevor Zegras' regular season saw him put up 29 goals and 51 assists for 80 points, and in the deep run had a very respectable 17 points in 21 playoff games. He remains an 87 overall heading into the final year of his current contract. The Penguins prove once again to be a dominant force in the NHL as they finish 6th overall. The playoffs aren't nearly as good as last year's, and they end up getting swept in the second round by the Detroit Red Wings. In the final year of his current deal, Trevor Zegras had 20 goals and 58 assists for 78 points in the regular season, and in the playoffs he was decent too with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. He dropped to an 85 overall, and in the offseason signed a 1-year, $6.6 million deal with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins, for the 3rd time in 5 years, finished first in the NHL and got bounced in the first round. Opposed to it being the Bruins like usual, this year it was the Flyers in 7 games. Trevor Zegras is still producing at 36 years old, and this season saw him put up 15 goals and 67 assists for 82 points. In the playoff disaster, he had 3 assists, he drops to an 82 overall, wins the Lady Byng, and decides to not retire and signs with the New York Rangers on a 1-year, $9 million deal. Signing with the New York Rangers was not the best decision to try and chase a cup, as they finished second to last in the NHL and obviously missed out on the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, Zegras' former team, the Pittsburgh Penguins, lost in the finals in 6 games, and who knows, maybe if he's on that team, they get it done. Anyway, in his season with the Rangers, Trevor Zegras had 14 goals and 38 assists for 52 points. Not a bad season at all for someone that age, especially when they're on a bottom-feeding team. Zegras drops to a 78 overall and decides to call it a career and retire. So in 1,445 NHL games, Trevor Zegras scored 419 goals and 838 assists for 1,257 career NHL points. He was a career plus 119, and the only award he won was the Lady Byng. Great career number-wise, the only thing he is missing is the hardware. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you guys thought. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave me some video ideas if you have any, because I can imagine these videos are starting to get really stale. Thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.